Today's Japanese slang term is petten sumairu. Now this is a term that I actually stumbled across kind of when it was invented, because in January I was gathering data on Twitter and this post came up on my feed. This is dated to January 7th, 2026, and it is a reply by the historian Yamazaki Mashiro to some random person, with the person noted that in the current political climate in the current Japanese government, it's the first time that they've realized the concept of an unpleasant smile exists. Yamazaki, in their quote tweet, states that, yeah, they've noticed this as well, and they call this a petten sumairu. The etymology of this is pretty clear. Sumairu, of course, is a smile, and I have found uses of this being used in Japanese going back to the early 1900s at the absolute latest. On the other hand, though, petten, which means fraud, swindle, etc., a petenshi is a fraudster, a swindler, is something we do need to talk about a little bit. Indeed, petten smiru, therefore, meaning-wise, is pretty simple. It means like a fake smile, a fraudulent smile. But where does petten come from? Because it is written in katakana and people assume that it is a loanword. Well, Wikipedia states that the origin is believed to be into Chinese, but no one is really sure. However, most websites assert pretty confidently that it comes from this specific Chinese word, which is pronounced something like bengzi. I can't speak Chinese. Now, a transformation from a B and a Z kind of sound into a P and a T is not really that surprising. For instance, this blog, which is talking about this word, notes that the Japanese word mentsu, face, comes from a similar transformation. But the problem is this word in Chinese does not seem to refer to fraudster. I found websites stating that it is like Chinese slang for this, but everything I can find says that it's actually just like a frame for kind of embroidery that you use. So while it is possible, of course, that this word does not come from Chinese whatsoever, I did what none of these Japanese websites apparently did, which is email a Chinese person I know and be like, hey, does this word mean fraudster in slang? Is that possible? And I got a reply saying that actually, this is all probably wrong, and if it did come from a Chinese word, it's probably this word. The second kanji is the same, but this actually means fraud in Chinese, and actually starts with a P sound, as you can see in the romanization here, or the pinyinization, I suppose. So I'm just guessing that if petten comes from a transformation of a Chinese word for fraud, it's this word. And so if you're a Japanese person operating one of the websites that I showed in this video, you can change that. Go ahead. You're welcome. Anyway, back to petten smiru. This term actually did pop off pretty intensely after the post I showed you earlier. The post itself has, over 1 million views. And in the quote tweets, a lot of people are also putting their least favorite politician making this smile. The person you're looking at right now is Tamaki Yuichiro, who is a member of the opposition Democratic Party for the People. The quote tweets are filled with people talking about this phenomenon and enjoying the name. And if you look at Google Trends, it's very clear that this post is the beginning of interest, as there's a huge spike in January of 2026. But did anyone ever use petten smiru before this? Well, yeah, actually, just not a lot. This is the first post I found that discusses the word, and it's back in 2010. It is a post saying that somebody complimented their sons and then they go on to insult their sons instead. From context, it's not 100% sure, but I think that like high schoolers with fake smiles does make sense as an interpretation of what they're trying to say. And once we get into 2011 to 2020 or so, there are some 100% contextual absolute uses of petten sumairu out there, such as the ones you're looking at here. Well, I shouldn't say such as, because it's just the ones you're looking at here. These are the only 4 in that almost decade-long period. But the first one and the third one very clearly reference the fake smiles that you put on when you work in the service industry. And the second and the fourth one amusingly use petten sumairu like you use warao or any of the other Japanese words you put in parentheses to show that that's your emotion. Like they're saying a thing and then they're fake smiling. I especially find the second one's phrasing of the "let's all do it together" fake smile as a particularly Japanese thing. I don't think that's the case, but it's interesting to see a Japanese perspective on that. So all in all, will petten sumairu survive? Maybe. Come back to this video in a few years, I suppose. But it seems to have at least legs right now. So if you want to just grab a picture of your least favorite politician smiling and call that a petten sumairu, there's a chance for you to go on the internet and get some likes. I'm sure that's a really good idea, and you should do it.